And our final ingredient is alternative text. Describe what you see. Simply put, alternative text is a textual description of your figure. The figure could be a photo, a graphic, a drawing, a chart, a graph, and so on. You should ask yourself, does this figure convey information? If so, it needs alternative text. And you, the author, are the best writer of alternative text because you know why you're putting this figure in your page or inside of your document or on your test. Think about this. What are you trying to convey and why is it important? Your alternative text should briefly describe both of these points. And remember, the level of description is based on your purpose. The information that you'll give someone when you're trying to teach them a new concept will be far more than if you're trying to test them. A great tool that you can use is this. Describe the figure as you would to someone on the telephone if they couldn't see it. Finally, you should know that decorative items can safely be marked as decorative. This ensures that the screen reader does not simply say image and then not give any description. If the screen reader user hears the word image and then there's no description, they will assume that there's an important figure that is missing a description and that they're missing information on the page. Let's take a look at this in practice. On our chocolate yogurt cake recipe in Word, we have this QR code, and I can put a simple description of the QR code letting the person know that it can be used with a smartphone or another QR code reader. In order to insert alternative text, the easiest way to do this is to right-click on the image and then click Edit Alt Text. You can see here that the current alt text is incorrect. It's simply the URL where I got the image. Instead, I'll say QR code use with QR code reader. Okay, and then I'll have to simply click off. And that one's done. So if I click on it again, it'll show me my alt text. Finally, when you're happy with your document, you can click on Review and then click Check Accessibility with the Accessibility Checker. It's important to note that the Accessibility Checker can be helpful in finding things like images that are missing alternative text or extra spaces that will be read out loud to the screen reader user, but it actually misses a lot of important structural issues. So for instance, this document does not contain all of the headings that it should, but the accessibility checker was unable to notice that and bring it to your attention. You can see that I also have some incorrect hyperlinks here. This baking soda URL should actually be hyperlinked to baking soda here. Again, this is not a perfect science, and the AI is unable to find all of the accessibility errors. It usually is only able to pull up some of the simpler errors. However, it's a useful tool along with the navigation pane. Again, the navigation pane is under View and then Show Navigation Pane. Using both of these, along with the tips that you've learned today, will help you to make your Word documents more accessible more of the time. Oftentimes, adding the alt text is the easy part, but knowing how to describe the figure is more difficult. For instance, if I click on this histogram and then I click on Image Options, it brings up the alternative text. And how I should describe this histogram will be very different if I am trying to instruct students in a non-assessment setting on how to interpret a histogram. If it's being used for explanation, you might include some interpretation, and that might include the fact that the distribution here is skewed right because its tail is pulled out to the right. This would not be appropriate to add if this were in a testing situation. In that instance, I would simply describe the histogram based on its numerical distribution, and I wouldn't provide the information about the distribution being skewed to the right because that's what I'm testing the students on. In this way, I should consider the context for the image and the import or the reason why I'm providing it in addition to the context in which it is presented to students. To add the alt text, simply click on the image to select it and then click on Image Options. The other option is to click down here on the Accessibility Checker or Ally and bring that in and then check the alt text on each of the images. Then you just click Next or Previous to toggle between all the images that you have on the page. A third option is to click on the accessibility meter here. This one is green, so I know that there's no problem. But if I click on it, I can double check everything anyway and ensure that there's no issue here. It also provides me with information, and I can click on Help for more Ally descriptions. So Ally works in a very similar way to the accessibility checker in Word and other Office products. And you can open Ally by clicking on these little meters throughout your page. We want to make sure that we have as many greens as possible and as few reds as possible. If you have any questions about any of those descriptions or the benchmarks that the checker gives you or what they mean, you can click on help, and you can also contact me at any time. And finally, I want to thank you very much for your interest in accessibility and helping all of your document readers have better and fuller access to the wonderful content that you're creating or curating. This video will be available for review. You'll receive a full list of attachments from today's proceedings, and you can use this for your review of today and also for document formatting help. And I encourage you very warmly and heartily to contact me for an accessibility consultation or with any questions you might have. Thank you.